Fellow Ugandans, I greet you from New York City in solidarity with every Ugandan, sister and brother, who is today engaged in the national liberation struggle against the dictatorship of General Museveni, who's been brutalizing Ugandans and neighboring countries in East and Central Africa for 31 years now. I greet you in support of the Red Bandana movement throughout the country, indeed, even in neighboring countries. People are now donning red bandanas, red t-shirts, red dresses, and waving anything that is red as their symbol of resistance to General Museveni's tyranny. By his megalomaniacal drive to try to remove Article 102B from the Constitution and lift the age ceiling of 75 so that he can continue with his tyranny in Uganda by running in elections again. General Museveni has succeeded in finally creating a mass national movement throughout the country in resistance to his solidarity. So in that respect, Ugandans have already achieved a major victory because throughout these years, he has succeeded in using the technique of divide and rule, which is something he learned from the legacy of colonial rule in Uganda. That is how the colonial powers, with so few men and women, were able to dominate the African continent. Museveni has used that very effectively and efficiently for 31 years now in Uganda. But now Ugandans are finally awoken. They're rejecting that technique now, divide and rule. The whole country seems to be unified with one voice, one mission, one agenda, which is to remove tyranny from Uganda. We should continue with our steadfast unity. We should not allow anyone to divide Uganda once again. If we pursue this course, we will succeed in removing tyranny from Uganda, building a new Uganda based on solidarity, on sisterhood and brotherhood. And we'll be able to create a better country for the youth of Uganda. We cannot tolerate an environment where 85% of our youth are unemployed, when we know that there are brilliant Ugandans within Uganda and in the diaspora all over the world, Ugandans with resources, Ugandans with capital that can help create environments for the young people to be employed and to become productive members of society. So we owe it to our youth to ensure that our struggle is successful and that we remove tyranny from Uganda once and for all. This is just a short greeting today. I hope to be able to communicate with you every Saturday with a short greeting. Before I leave today, I would like to make one suggestion. General Museveni has benefited from foreign support for many years. The United States alone sends more than $1 billion to the Ugandan regime. The Museveni regime must have benefited to the tune of almost $30 billion from the United States since he came to power in 1986 in financial and military support. Yet, obviously, this money does not go to benefit Ugandans. Otherwise, we would not have such deteriorating medical facilities throughout the country, doctors would not be on strike right now. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the story of a hospital in Moroto where dead bodies would remain in hospital beds for up to 3 to 4 days. Patients fled from the hospital, were sleeping outside trees. This is not a made-up story. Anybody can Google this story. Moroto, M-O-R-O-T-O, dead bodies in hospital beds, and Uganda. And anybody who does not believe this story. This is a very typical story in General Museveni's Uganda. This is unconscionable. So we need to contact the countries that have been supporting General Museveni's dictatorship with financial resources. Here in diaspora, we've been engaging the White House, the State Department, the Pentagon, the United States mission to the United Nations, and questioning them as to why the United States continues to fund and support such a tyrannical regime that is brutalizing Ugandans. We will continue to do that. We will continue to mount pressure on the proper authorities here in the United States. And might I suggest that Ugandan sisters and brothers in other countries, in Britain, in the Scandinavian countries, in other African countries as well, to do the same thing. Campaign, contact the proper authorities in those countries, whether you protest with demonstrations, whether you do phone calls, petition campaigns, online campaigns. Let's put the pressure on all these foreign entities that have been supporting the Museveni dictatorship. And one other suggestion, people in Uganda can also do the same thing. Contact the United States Embassy. The United States Ambassador, Deborah Malak, was very supportive of the Ugandan yearning for peace after the elections that General Museveni stole last year from Dr. Kizza Besigye. Ambassador Malak made a statement condemning corruption in Uganda, the embezzling of funds by ministries, funds sent from outside to benefit Ugandans' medical facilities and the healthcare system. But Ambassador Malak has been silent in light of the current campaign of brutality by Museveni's US-trained and equipped security forces against Ugandans that are peacefully resisting his tyranny. And scores of people have been killed, beginning with Esther Nasasira in Rukungiri, who was killed on October 18. People have been killed in Lira. People have been brutalized in every part of Uganda. Gulu, in the central, in the south, in the east, in the west. This must stop. So please, in Uganda, feel free to contact the U.S. Ambassador, Deborah Malak, and urge her to stand with the people of Uganda and to suspend the U.S., at least the military support to the security services of General Museveni. You can call the embassy and urge her to make a statement. The U.S. Embassy in Uganda is 256-414-259-791. And finally, let's all extend a prayer to all the victims, people that have lost their lives during Museveni's 31 years of dictatorship in Uganda. Sisters and brothers, I send you this greeting on this 11th day of November, Saturday morning, from New York City. May the Creator be with you and protect you as well as your family. I will try to communicate with you every Saturday morning. Thank you, sisters and brothers.